this video, we want to go through a few examples of adding and subtracting polynomials. So let's start with adding, and adding polynomials is really straightforward. Let's take a couple examples here. Let's say I have, let's try this again, here we go. Let's say I have 3x squared plus 2x minus 6, that can be one of my polynomials. And the other polynomial, let's do 4x squared minus 7x plus 1. Okay, there's two polynomials. So now, if I want to add these polynomials together, a lot of times in a book you'll see it like this. I'm going to take this polynomial plus this polynomial, and they'll put parentheses around the two polynomials. When students see those parentheses, they think multiply. But we're not multiplying these polynomials because there's an addition sign in between the two parentheses. A lot of students think, I got to distribute. Well, you could think about distributing. If you're going to distribute into the parentheses, then you'd be looking for a number right next to the parenthesis, either right before or right after each parenthesis that you could distribute. And there's no number there. If you wanted to visualize a number there, you could visualize the number 1. If you multiply 1 into those parentheses, it's not going to change anything. So what I'm really getting at here is these parentheses, when there's an addition sign between them, mean nothing. We can actually just drop those parentheses and rewrite the problem like this. Now it just becomes combining like terms. So remember, like terms have to have the same variable and exponent combination. In other words, if I look at the variable and the exponent here, I have an x squared, and variable and exponent there, I have an x squared. So that makes 3x squared and 4x squared like terms. To combine those, we simply add them together. So we have, let's try that again. What's 3 plus 4? It is 7. So we have 7x squared. There we go. All right, so the next like term we have is 2x. Actually, it doesn't matter what order, but all right, so I have a term that just has x's in them, x to the first power. So that makes 2x minus 7x, makes those like terms. Remember that this negative sign in front of the 7 belongs to that 7. You can think of it as negative 7x. So 2x plus negative 7x or 2x minus 7x is going to give you minus or negative 5x. So you could write that as plus negative 5x or minus 5x, whatever makes you happy. Most of the time you'll see it written as minus 5x because it's just simpler, less symbols. And then lastly, what we have are called our constant terms. No variables multiplied by these numbers. Basically, we have negative 6 plus 1, which gives us negative 5. Same kind of situation. I could write minus 5, or I could write plus negative 5. So either of these answers would be correct. But as I said, this answer right here is probably what you're going to see. All right, so overall, adding like terms is really straightforward. All you do is drop the parentheses and combine like terms. Now, subtracting like terms is, oh, that's interesting. Subtracting like terms is a little more, can be a little more complicated. So let's get rid of all this business here. Get rid of this, get rid of this, and now let's just change this problem to a subtraction. And we'll get rid of that, and we'll change it to a subtraction problem. Now, in this scenario, we could go and talk about the same things we talked about earlier, which are, do I have to distribute? Is there anything I am supposed to distribute into these parentheses? We could say, is there any number in front of this parenthesis here? No, I could think of it as a 1. How about here to multiply this way? No, that would just be a 1. How about here? Well, if there was a number there, if there was a 1 there, then this would be a negative 1. And we have to multiply that through these parentheses. So this is the key to doing subtracting polynomials. is that you have to think of this minus as a -1 multiplied or distributed through the second parentheses. If you'd like to think about distributing something through the first parentheses, you can. It's just going to be 1, and that is not going to change the value of anything inside the first set of parentheses. So the first polynomial is just going to remain like that. The second polynomial, I have -1 times 4x squared, which is -4x squared. I have -1 times -7x, which is +7x. And I have -1 times +1, which is -1. Once I distribute that negative through the parentheses, now all it is combining like terms. Okay, pretty straightforward. So we have 3x squared take away 4x squared, which is -1x squared, and I don't have to write the 1 in front. You could put the 1 there if you want, but most of the time it just gets dropped. And then we have our x terms. So we have 2x plus 7x, which is going to give me 9x. And lastly, we have our constant terms. We have -6 minus 1, which is -7. So I'm going to write that as -7. And that would be my answer for subtracting the two polynomials. So subtracting does take a little more work. You have to distribute a negative through the second parentheses and then combine like terms. All right, well, I hope that helped.